Hello, this is Inside the Press Box with Sunil Sunder Raj for the Everyday Fan Sports. I'm happy to be speaking with Albright College Football special teams coordinator, defensive line coach, and recruiting coordinator, Shaun Weaver. Coach Weaver, thank you so much again for taking some time out to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time and all you do covering sports in New Jersey, and especially obviously for us football. I love seeing your coverage of everything from coaches to players. Something I check every single week.
Thank you so much, Coach Weaver, for the kind words. I said we were talking before we came on the air. I said the 2021 season, is right here. It's September 3rd. I was jotting down, home against, I think it'll be against Salisbury at Gene L. Shirk Stadium. Can you talk about, just the preparation, for this season? I mean, I said you wear many hats, so you definitely have been very busy of late. I said this whole entire year, but just coming off, I said, with COVID-19 pandemic, this has got to be, for the coaching staff and players, just, these are special moments right here.
Absolutely. It's exciting to get back to what we consider a full season with everything going with the pandemic and over the last year. So we didn't get a full season last year in 2020. We played a couple games in the spring, but we're back to really almost a normal feeling fall season where we have a full 10-game slate scheduled. We had a full preseason camp. We have JV games. We have everything coming up, which feels a little bit more normal and comfortable. But we reported on August 9th. So we've been in camp mode for a little while now. Finished with a scrimmage last week. We're now in game week. We're in week one, ready to prep for Salisbury this Friday, home under the lights, which will be a great challenge. They're a great team. They're a top 10 team historically year in, year out. So we're excited to get going. Excited to get to finally get to a real football game and a full fall season again.
Yeah, I was looking at Coach Weaver at the schedule. Opening up at home, but then have to, so go on the road, sit at Western Connecticut, at Alvernia. Not an easy, start to the season. Can you talk about this particular group? I was trying to, count, the number of upperclassmen. It's close. I think it's close to 40, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. But if you want to just describe just what this team, what you've seen out of them so far, in camp, and what the expectations are, here during the regular season.
Yeah, for us right now, we were what you consider a relatively younger team. With last year, with not being a normal year, those freshmen really they got their freshman year in the classroom. Mm-hmm. They didn't get the full year as a football player, really, because of the lack of the full fall season. So we really feel like we almost have two freshman classes right now, the way it looks at it. So it's a lot of new for a big chunk of our roster. Now, we do have some veteran guys that have been in our program for a while and been in the earlier part of their career, been part of some really successful teams here. You had a couple years before the pandemic hit where weren't quite up to where we're used to expectation-wise here, but it's almost like a reset button for everybody right now with the pandemic of the kind of the gap year that happened for everybody. So we're excited to get back to the brand of football we know we can play here at Albright, and excited to get into the non-conference schedule with Salisbury coming up this week, West Con in week 2, and then jump right into the MAC conference schedule, which the MAC is always a competitive football conference in Division III, and we're excited to get to that and get back to feeling like a normal football season again.
Yeah, no, definitely fans in the stands. You got the marching band, you got the cheerleaders. It's just, compared to last year, of course, nothing, is measured up to that. I wanted to ask you, because I think the team was picked 8th in the preseason poll.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, sort of take that, I said, and, use that as motivation, heading into the season here, Coach Weaver.
Yeah, and with the conference polls, those are always interesting because they're projections looking at years past, and especially with this year, it's going to be hard to project because we're so far removed from actually playing a full season, and there's so many variables that comes in with rosters on who's actually on the roster at this point on any team in the country. But being 8th, obviously, that's definitely motivation. Our guys want to finish well above that mark in the conference, and the MAC is deep. There's a lot of good football teams in this conference. So we'll see. As we get into the season, and get ready to, continue to prepare and get ready for our non-conference games. And we want to be hitting all cylinders by the time we get to the MAC conference schedule, so we can obviously finish well above that 8th preseason rank.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, head coach John Marska, I mean, in his 13th year, I mean, talk about that run from after his first season back in 2007, 2008 to 2017. I mean, he went 85-48, won 26 games in his first 3 seasons. I mean, he's just done an absolutely tremendous job here at Albright College. Can you just talk about first him, and then, so I'll ask you about the rest of the coaching staff as well, Coach Weaver?
Yeah, absolutely. Coach has been here for honestly almost going on 15 years. It's been, but you don't see any very often anymore. A lot of coaches don't stick around. There's been great stability here in the program. He's really done a great job of building a program message here with Reach Your Full Potential, RYFP. You see that all over everything we do here, and that's what we build our team culture around and our standard. But a ton of success. Consistently been one of the more competitive teams in the MAC conference, which again, like I said earlier, is deep. There's some quality teams in this conference. Multiple postseason appearances, either ECA bowl games, Centennial MAC bowl games, NCAA playoffs, all the above. So that standard's been set here, and there's great tradition here. Yeah. And again, we're going to get right back to where we feel the program should be here in this season. Get right back on track. Had a couple down years, like any other program will have. You have ups and downs, but we've shown that you can win consistently here, and we're excited to get back to that.
Yeah, those are key words. When I always talk to coaches, is that culture. Said the tradition. The brotherhood as well. I mean, they're all factor into the success of a football program. I mean, and that's built, as we know, football is 24/7, 365. So it takes a while to really, formulate, that success. But can you talk about it? I mean, once, you finish up a season, coaches always said we're already thinking about the next season. Can you talk about that? Because I mean, it said every day there's something new, but just as far as in the off season, Coach Weaver.
Yeah, in building a culture, it takes time, like you mentioned, and that's day in day out by the little things that you're doing, not just obviously out on the field, in meetings and the weight room and all the prep and everything that you're doing as a coach and a player in the program. It takes a lot of time and effort and work. It comes down to having the same types of goals. So we all work in the same direction. I think that's critical in building, that team culture. But there's really nothing like a football family. Yeah. Football families are just, it's because it's one of the bigger teams you're going to see in all athletics is a football team. So sometimes there's 100 guys from all different backgrounds, approaches to how they are personality wise, all those things. So getting everybody going the same direction takes a lot of work, and it comes down to just buying in together for a common goal. You got to give up your individuality for a good of a goal. Sometimes that decision you feel may not be best for you, may be best for the team, that helps everybody have the best opportunity to win. There's nothing like a football team and a football family. And that culture has been built here over, numerous years already. And we're just continue to add to that culture and tradition as we go year in, year out. And it's built into everything we do. Every single meeting, how we handle ourselves, sounds a little bit wild here, but, it comes down to, we want no one to pick up after Albright football. So our field, making sure there's nothing out there, there's no garbage. There's in a meeting room. We want the meeting room to look better than it was when we got there for the meeting. Whatever it is, all those little details will make a huge difference in us continue to develop the culture that we want.
Yeah, no, excellent points you made, Coach Weaver. I was looking at the rest of the staff, which is really great, is that it's a blend of I think guys in their first year and then experienced guys. I mean, I was looking at offensive line, said coach, director of football operations and academic coordinator Mike Boyer in his 11th season. I mean, that is just, fantastic. And then you have Chance Green, the running backs and video coordinator in his second season, I believe. John Alcia, tight ends coach, I think in his first season. And then John Venditti, the cornerbacks coach and alumni coordinator. Can you just talk about this coaching staff? And just, I mean, again, it's just, it seems like, everybody, said is definitely, said on the same page. And, again, that experience factor is really crucial.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we really do have a good mix. We have a couple coaches, like obviously our head coach, John Marsk, has been here for almost 15 years.
Yeah.
Coach Boyer's been here with him for a majority of that time in different roles. For I think going into 12 or 13 years and he's coached multiple different positions on the offensive side as well. And then you got an interesting mix of younger coaches that are in their second or third year on our staff. To myself, who I've been here since February of 2020. Mark Dulusch is our defensive coordinator. This is his first full year here, but he's been 15 years in the conference. He was the co-DC at Delaware Valley, which is a perennial MAC power. So we have a unique combination of guys who are on the earlier part of their career, but been here in good stability, and then guys who've been coaching for 15, 20 years in the college game. So I think we really do have a really good mix staff wise, and positionally we got a good breakdown, offense to defense. We each have our own specific roles within the staff. We have someone completely dedicated to academics. Academics is a priority for us here. Somebody completely dedicated to recruiting, which is me. We have all these different pieces that we have that are, you wear a lot of hats.
I was just about to say that.
And you have to do it right and do it well to get the student athlete support that they need in all areas. Because it's not just about football. We want to develop you every possible way we can here as a student, teammate, person, and athlete, all those pieces. So you have all these specific roles that you have. And we have coaches that are dedicated to each section of that, development while you're here at Albright.
That's great. It said, you wear many hats, being special teams, coordinator, defensive line coach, but wanted to get into the recruiting, part of it. Came on before we came on the air, talking about, recruiting across the country, and then specifically here in the Northeast, especially, New Jersey, has become a hotbed. Can you talk about, from north to south, said you have traveled, met a lot of great, coaches. Can you talk about, the process that goes into that, Coach Weaver, every year?
Absolutely. I've been recruiting New Jersey since 2006. Okay. So I've been at other stops along the way in my coaching career. So I've been recruiting New Jersey for a long time. Hadn't been there previously. I'm from Ohio originally. So I got the assignment of, hey, you're recruiting New Jersey. And I had about 3/4 of it. So I had to learn on the run that first year. Never even been to the state. Once I got into the recruiting process, I really started to really love the coaches, the people, the entire state. Football is really important in so many different areas in the state of New Jersey, and it's hands down my favorite place to recruit. We've done, no matter where I've been, it's always been a priority for us. Recruiting wise, it is heavily recruited. There's a lot of opportunities. You can draw a circle around New Jersey a couple hours, and there's a lot of schools, all divisions. So you're going to get a lot of people who want to tap in to the talent there. But I think that one of the main things for us throughout the years, as coaches, college coaches, is that high school coaches are fantastic. The high school coaches from all over, if you're talking Shore, Morris County, Bergen County, I've recruited the entire state throughout my career. They do a great job of getting in this information, promoting their players, and trying to find the best places for them. There's a lot of opportunity out there for a student athlete to get an education and play football. And the coaches do a great job of placing and helping by making connections with us as coaches. But it's such an important piece to our roster here, to our institution. You'll see a lot of New Jersey license plates in our parking lots, not just athletes, but students as well, because we're located in Reading, PA. I think location-wise, it's an easy trip where a student can feel like they're far enough away at college, but close enough to get home whenever they need to. Their parents and family can see every single game they play, home or away, because all of our games are in the Mid-Atlantic. It makes a lot of sense. This recruiting process has evolved throughout the years, where it used to be much different when I first started. I started coaching in 2001, 2002, so it's been in this game for a little bit. It's the only job I've ever had. Where a lot of it was, getting on the phone, talking, going into high schools, seeing students in person. The camps hadn't evolved to where they are now. The The social media recruiting obviously wasn't even an option at that point. Twitter has exploded on the scene right now. So the recruiting process is really taken over a whole new look in this process for both sides, families and coaches. There's recruiting services. Those are very common now. It's a different environment now. You also have the national exposure, Rivals, 247, all those things are out there, which you get a whole nother level of exposure. And, you couldn't say this five or 10 years ago, it gets national coverage when a top tier 5-star recruit makes his decision on where he's going to go. And it's big time news. Not to say it wasn't important, but it's a whole different level of coverage now with recruiting across the country, no matter the division.
No, definitely. I said, I know that, before you came here to Albright, I believe at Gettysburg, said you were in charge, I think, with the social media strategy. And that's so vital, as you said. I mean, you're utilizing all these platforms, and I said another one I just throw out there is Huddle as well. And it's just like, these said, for the athletes as well, being able to capitalize on that and being able to get their video packages out there, highlights, out to the, prospective coaches as well.
Yeah. And that's where we deal with most highlights that we're going to see are come through Huddle. We will still get an occasional where they'll take highlights and put them onto a YouTube link or something along those lines. And some have private companies that they work with as well, but most of it comes through Huddle. Huddle has kind of dominated the high school landscape in terms of video. College as well, though, because we're like our conference uses Huddle, so we exchange all the video and things. So it just naturally works for everybody. But for me now, where I used to have to request a film from a high school coach, and this was going back years ago. Hey, I love to see film on Johnny. You say he's a good fit. I think he may work here. So they'd have to send us actual film. So you go all the way back to VHS, SVHS, eventually DVDs. And now I literally type in a player's name, type in Huddle, and I can find their highlights like that. So I can do a quick evaluation. Football is different than a lot of other sports. A lot of other sports, recruiting wise, will they do in-person evals. So club lacrosse, club soccer, like they see all AAU basketball. You see all this in-person eval. There's not club football teams now. 7-on-7s are moving that direction. So our eval of a player on film is so critical. So getting a highlight film is a huge part of the process for us and for the student athletes in the recruiting process. And getting help with that, I think, is something that a lot of recruits could really focus on to get their highlights set up efficiently and well, so we have the opportunity to see them as a player. So many times I'll get highlights that are 10 minutes long. You gotta narrow that down a little bit and put your most important, impactful plays at the front end. I think that's critical because you want to catch our eye. We're going to try to we'll get a pretty quick eval off of a player in the first minute or so watching the film to see if we think they're a positional fit for us. We'll dive further the more we like, but we don't really care what kind of music's on the video. I have it muted. I'm just there to watch an eval. Are you going to fit for us as an offensive lineman or a quarterback or a defensive tackle, whatever position it is? But it's it's type in our keyboard now, and I can see that now immediately, which is so different than it used to be.
I think a couple of things popped in my head is that now with New Jersey, you've seen now the state championship, bowl regional games, MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, SHI Stadium, I said on the campus of Rutgers University, I said in Piscataway. I mean, it's a bigger stage for these kids, and then, as you said, alluded to, Coach Weaver, with the highlights they're able to add to that's got, that's just wondering is that, during the course of the season or once the season concludes, then, putting together, as you said, that their best highlights, and then be able to get their name in front of the pack, because it's very competitive out there, in terms of trying to separate yourself from the rest of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a couple different strategies that I get with recruits. Some will, as they get new film, they'll share it with me. So, hey, coach, this is my highlights from our game last night versus Del Barton. Okay, I'll watch that. Some wait a couple games and get together their first 3 or 4 games, send it out. Some guys want to wait the entire season to get a full highlight film. Either way, we want to see the film. That's the priority. We want to see what you've done most recently. We've already done an eval as your junior year. And your junior years for a lot of guys last year it depends on where you were. Some didn't get the full game, so it's hard to get an eval sometimes. And camps were really not an option last summer. So, that's why getting senior film out now, maybe a little bit more frequent is going to be critical because we want to see and evaluate you as you are as a football player right now to project you, into whatever position we feel you might fit. But that's a critical step in the recruiting process.
It's just amazing, these 7-on-7 camps. Just to see how they've just, out of the blue, just have popped up all over. I was amazed, just on social media, watching how many of them, were around the state of New Jersey. But again, I think for these players, it is so essential, in terms of staying in shape. And then again, being able to reach out to the prospective colleges and say, hey, this is what I've been doing and what I'm up to. I'm just not, being lazy this summer, but I'm actually being proactive and, want to reach that elite level. So it's great to see. I have a couple more, Coach Weaver. I didn't want to forget, of course, support from the administration, athletic department at Albright College as well. I think their co-director of athletics in Rick Ferry, I think Janice Luck, and then of course there's I think President Fetro. You can just talk about and that's again to building that successful program is having the support again from those 2 areas as well.
Absolutely. Really, in department, we do have Janice Luck and Rick Ferry, our athletic directors. They're both basketball coaches in the athletic department here for the men's, women's basketball programs who have been highly competitive. Both give great support to all of our athletes on campus here. Athletics is an important piece of Albright College. Almost, I think it's 25% of our student body are athletes. So there's a huge section of our campus are athletes. I think that's important when you go to a place that obviously not just your sport, but athletics is important. And we had great support on campus, community. Football is obviously a big deal in this area too. So I think that's a pretty cool environment where game day for us, which we're about to see come up to the end of this week. We have one of the best stadium setups. So it's a fun place to watch a game. We'll be under the lights here for Friday night lights for week 1. We usually play Saturdays, but Friday is going to be there. But our administration does a great job of supporting all of our coaches here in the department, and specifically our football staff. President Fetro is awesome. She's an alum, very supportive of athletics, no matter what sport. Even to the point where I've seen her actually tag in Twitter, a Twitter post, congratulating one of our, lacrosse athletes on, hey, great job. That engaged at every event. Amazing to have that kind of support. You need support from the top down to be elite in athletics, and we have that here at Albright.
That's great. You talked about the facilities. I mean, you said they have a great, football stadium, but in terms of with weightlifting and strength and conditioning, because that's one of your areas of expertise, Coach Weaver, that you've before you came here, you said that especially at Gettysburg. Can you talk about that? I mean, that's right there, that's the bread and butter. I mean, really preparing you for a season. I mean, you do a lot of outdoor work, but, in the weight room is, really where, you start, to get in tip-top shape. Can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, facility-wise, we already kind of touched on our stadium. Our stadium's amazing. We have the live sports complex, and we have our the Bowman Center. We have an indoor space here where we're actually able to practice inside, which is nice. We're able to separate into multiple different sections and do things inside. So not just for football, we can do speed development work, plyometrics, strength conditioning based things there as well. We have the main weight room. And we also have an alternate weight room right by our stadium as well. So we have 2 weight room spaces for all of our athletes, and specifically our football program. We have a strength staff here as well. They're dedicated strength staff that are working with our guys no matter what phase or part of the season, fall, spring, whatever it is, winter. So you get year-round training. We have a great setup facility-wise here. And that makes all the difference because that's a part of the development. We want to develop you as a person, as a student, athlete, all those pieces. You're going to get our academic game plan for your academic development. You're going to get our strength conditioning program for your athletic development. All those pieces come into developing you into the best possible person and player you can be. We have a great setup here to develop you, off the field as well.
That's great. I wanted to just touch also on alumni as well, because they play, again, a big factor in this as well. Coming back and helping, the current crop of players. Can you talk about that as well, Coach Weaver?
Yeah, alumni are the lifeblood of any institution or any program. I think when alums have come through a program and had a great experience, that makes all the difference. For us, we just it was nice to be able to get back to this. We got back to our golf outing this summer. We obviously had to take a little bit of a pause the summer before. We didn't have anything like that. We got back to our alumni golf outing and here at Reading Country Club right here in town, and had a great turnout for the event. And it was nice to see alums from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, like at all different decades, and a lot of successful football players and students here. It was great to get everybody together and have a great event. It's still a little different with the, restrictions with things going on, but it was nice to have everybody together. Where we do a lot of fundraising and things and connect with our alums. We try to do a good job of keeping our alums up to date. Coach Marska, our head coach, likes to send a message just to give updates at key points in the season. Hey, we just started camp. Here's our camp schedule. We invited alums to be able to come to, camp practices, scrimmages, things like that, games. Coach will try to update after every game just to get, okay, this is where we are right now. And we do the same thing in the off season too. Alums want to know what's going on with our guys in or out of season. Hey, we're prepping for spring. We're in the weight room right now, working hard. Keeping connected with our alums is an important piece here. And I think that's something we want to continue to build on.
I am sure they'll be out there in full force on Friday night.
I'm excited to see the crowd on Friday.
Yeah, it's I was going to say the community. Can you just talk about that? I mean, comment a little bit, but just from Reading, just the support that you received, from them as well.
It's neat with where we're at because we're on the just on the outskirts, on the corner of Reading. So we're not in the city part of it. You have basically Mount Penn on the back of our campus. So there's a beautiful mountain setting, and then the other side is you're getting closer to the city, to Reading, to Wyomissing, heading that way. But on 13th Street, where Albright is, you can go all the way down the end of 13th, and you're going to go by the local elementary schools, the middle schools, and then at the end you get Reading High. So we're all on 13th Street right here. So you can literally go from kindergarten all the way through college to get your graduate degree on 13th Street. But we get great support. Reading, actually, their high school plays their home games here on our stadium. They have a JV game today, so they'll have a JV game today. So we're interconnected with Reading, which I think is really cool. Because I've been in other places and all over the country where there's no real connection with the local community per se. We're here, we're intertwined. We actually have the same colors. So it works out really well, and I think the community comes out, in force to support and be at our games, and not just football but basketball. They're all big events because Albright is right here in town. Yeah, no, it's terrific having that local hometown flavor. I mean, just having that support, that it's just it's fabulous. I'm wondering, it's something just entered my mind is that as you said, you're from Ohio, I said now here next door. I mean, it said in Pennsylvania. Just in terms of how it was out there, now coming of course over here to Pennsylvania, Coach Weaver. Yeah, I've been all over the country because of football. I've probably been in majority of my life wherever I've been able to travel, be as a player or as a coach. It's because of the sport of football. Now, it all started for me in Ohio, southwestern Ohio, kind of near Cincinnati, down in that area of the state. And it's a decent sized state, and football is a big deal there. Football is a sport, and it was awesome to grow up in that environment. High level teams in Cincinnati Moeller, St. X, and you got up north St. Ignatius. places like Archbishop Hoban and that you mentioned with Bergen County. I mean, there's good football all over the state. So that's where it kind of started. So being in a place for me where football was such a huge deal, and coming here where, PA, it used to be a huge deal for me growing up, the Big 33 game. It used to be Ohio versus Pennsylvania, and that was a tradition. There's great football in the state of Pennsylvania as well at the high school level. I love this region: Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all these areas. Football is a priority. I mean, obviously, there's good athletics in all three of the states in the region, but there's football is and will always be such a vital piece of each of those states.
Yeah. You talked about the technology before we came on the air, like, spreading the word about, said Albright College, football. I'm wondering, especially that jersey, said that helmet, that line to represent what is, I mean, either, said Coach Marsko's message, said, heading here into the season, but, what that represents, what you want the players, to know about that as well, Coach Weaver.
Yeah, and we have, and I kind of touched on this earlier, we have a mission statement that we build our program around. And we use every possible way in our recruiting process, our social media, Twitter, Instagram. We have about every social media you can think of to promote it as well. But we want to build off our mission statement. And our mission statement is around reaching your full potential, and we're here to help you do that. We have a mission statement that's actually reads, I will passionately work and relentlessly strive to reach my full potential as a person, student, athlete, and teammate. And that's what you're expected to do in our program as a player, coach, support staff, whoever that is. That's the standard, and the standard set. And that's what we build on for, almost 15 years here. So that's what we really in our process will do a good job of trying to communicate that. So, recruits coming into our program know what's expected of them and what they can expect to get out of the experience here, as well as winning a lot of football games. I'm going to get better as a person, a student, an athlete, and I'll be a better teammate, which will pay off, down the road as a coworker, as a father, as a husband, all those things that are, post football, when football ends. Fortunately, football has got to end for everybody at some point. That's why I'm coaching. I didn't want it to end, but it will end at some point. We want to make sure that we're helping people get better in all those areas. So when they're done with the game, they can say, "Hey, this really helped me be better in my life."
Yeah. A couple more. You might have answered this, but I'm wondering, not only playing, the game of football, but coaching as well. What made it for you so special? I mean, you're still coaching, but I'm just saying, just for you, what is it about? I was thinking that football is that, when you're on that field as a player, and I've heard it from coaches, you have to rely on the next, player over to you. I mean, you're depending on that person to have your back. I've heard that a number of times, but I'm just wondering, for you, Coach Weaver.
Yeah, for me personally, with coaching, it really has been a calling for me. I haven't really imagined doing anything else. And it has been my only career. When I finished playing in college, I jumped right in. I was lucky enough to my college coach gave me an opportunity to start coaching at the college level when I was doing my student teaching. I had another semester left of student teaching that I needed to do. I was a secondary education, social studies major, and a history major, double major. So I thought I was going to go into that route. I just found what I was passionate about. To me, coaching is teaching. I just teach football and life lessons rather than in a true classroom setting where I'm teaching a subject. And I love that part about it because I'm able to connect and help young people get better and learn life lessons through the sport of football. I would not be where I'm at today without football and the people that I had coach me at all stops, high school, college, and then other coaches that helped coach me as I went through my career over almost 20 years in the college game. That's why I do. I love it. I love the interactions, the time you spend in meetings on the field, even the discussions that have nothing to do with football with guys is that, just helping them sort through, Coach, what do you think about this? Yeah. I had that as well. And that's something that's really, really important in helping people develop and really reach their full potential as they get to play this game we all love.
Yeah, I love that word connections, because, you know, as you mentioned, Coach Weaver, before, like, you have all these people come from different parts of the country, and then they have to come together as one. They have to mesh together as one, you know, and, you know, play this sport. You know, it's just amazing how much, as you said, the preparation goes into it. And then, like, you know, once you get into the season, how short it is, and, like, you know, every week is so important, like, you know, in terms of, you know, as I said, playing, you know, to the best of your ability. I don't want to skip out is the support you've received from your family. You know, as you said, you know, rightly, football has been your passion. It's been, you know, the number one thing. So can you talk about that as well? Because I'm sure that's just as important to you as with family.
Absolutely. To me, that's always been my priority in my life. It's always been family and football. You know, other than that, you know, I find time to do some other things, but those are the two driving things in my life. You know, my wife, Kim, she's amazing. She understands the coaching schedule is wild. I mean, it's early mornings, late nights, really 7 days a week in the season, especially. And then with recruiting now being really almost 24/7, that doesn't ever stop, you know, so she's so understanding and, you know, unbelievably supportive, which is vital to me being my best to do my best job and be there for her, but also be the best possible coach I can be. And our daughter, Kaylee, she's the same way. She understands the schedule and gets it. She's an athlete as well. She's a tennis player at Elizabethtown College in PA. She's gonna teach someday too. She's gonna teach the little ones. She's gonna teach kindergarten, elementary ed. You know, so that my family is everything to me, and every extra second I get, you know, I want to spend with them. You know, my family back home has been the same way. My mom, my sister, and my nieces and nephews, all back home in Ohio. And, you know, they've, you know, my whole career as I've been chasing, you know, this passion that I get to do with coaching, they've been supportive of me no matter where I've coached, what position I coach. They just love the support wherever I'm at and whatever I'm doing. So family's important, and you got to have understanding people in your life to be able to do this, because the hours and schedule are way different than people even understand sometimes, because it takes such a commitment to do this at its highest level. You know, it's just it's a little bit different. It's not a 9-to-5 thing.
I was just about to say that.
It's hard to turn this off, because you'll have every hours of the night where, you know, one of your players needs you. You know, and you need to be there for them, you know, not just for a football thing, but for something going on at home, you know, whatever it may be. And it's just something you can't really turn off.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was saying to myself that, you know, putting those miles on the car, you know, driving, you know, all around the place somewhere.
Plenty of miles and plenty of hours.
Yeah. Hey, final question is, again, I asked, you know, quite a few athletes and coaches this, but I think you're definitely, you know, in the perfect, you know, spot to, you know, offer this. What your advice, your message is, not only for younger players and, you know, kids, but also coaches. You know, people want to break into the coaching ranks as well. You've, you know, paid your dues. You have, you know, said worked all over the place. I mean, what it takes, you know, to succeed in this, you know, field. It's not for the faint of heart. It's competitive, but you've been able to carve out your own, you know, pathway, Coach Weaver.
Yeah, and I think what it comes down to in terms of coaching, you know, the main thing, you got to be willing to put in the work. There's a lot of work that goes into any profession, but it's so different from being a football player to being a football coach. It's funny, when I first started coaching, you know, as a player, I'm thinking, oh, I understand football. I've played it my whole life. You don't understand football, not until you have to teach it and coach it and all the pieces that go along with that. So really, you know, trying to develop yourself, not just the X's and O's, because the X's and O's are important pieces of it, but also how to run a room, how to communicate, how to be able to teach in a progression, all these things that you don't even think about, but again, it comes down to teaching. You got to be able to put in the work and develop yourself to see where you're strong. In terms of, okay, maybe this I'm stronger at than I am this, and improving in those areas. And then you just need to be consistent. consistent work ethic, consistent in communication. Communication is important no matter what profession you're in.
Yeah.
But in coaching, it's vital. If I can't communicate well with the people that I'm interacting with every day, they're not going to believe in me and my message, and whatever we're running X's and O's doesn't matter. So we got to get guys to connect. But there's no more rewarding, profession in my opinion, than this. But there's a lot of work, a lot of hours, and a lot of taking time to develop and listen more than you talk. I think that's something that I did a great job of early in my career, is I just listened to the people around me, and I found some things on how to do things better, how to take the next step in my career to get to where I wanted to be. And it worked out well for me. Some of it's just luck and timing too.
Yeah.
I was able to become a coordinator at 25, which is early in your career. And I was blessed to have that opportunity for Coach Streeter when I was at Gettysburg. Some of the luck comes into play too sometimes with this, but if you're in it for the money, you're in there for the wrong profession. You got to be willing to put in the time and work and develop yourself and just stay consistent. That's the biggest thing. If somebody can count on you, they know what they're going to get from you day in, day out. There's somebody that you want around, and every staff guys have their roles. Find your role, maximize your role, and develop and get better.
It's great. I was gonna just ask you, Coach Weaver. I said the floor is yours. If I've left anything out, I was gonna mention also. You said you've coached in other places. I mean, I think I can't pronounce it. You probably will. Bemidji.
Bemidji State.
Bemidji. Okay, I was like, oh my God, that's a tongue twister. And also your alma mater, Wilmington College, as well in Ohio. I mean, I know you definitely. Those are two places that also have a special place for for you as well, Coach Weaver.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I actually got my start at Wilmington, where I played. Again, my head coach Mike Wallace gave me an opportunity to start coaching. Pretty much right away when I finished playing, which was awesome. I can remember talking to my coaches about it and saying, have you thought about doing this? And I have, but I thought I was going to be a teacher, and then it just worked out timing wise. So I coached there for a few years, went from there up to a scholarship school in Minnesota, Bemidji State, and had a great experience there. Was able to really grow as a coach. From there, went to Gettysburg College, I think 2005, 2006, in that range. And was able to go from, after my first year, went from a position coach to a coordinator. And then in my time there, I was multiple different positions that I coached: recruiting coordinator, strength conditioning coordinator for the entire department for 12 or 13 years. Had 37 championships in my time there as a strength coach with all the different sports we had there. And then February of 2020, made the transition here to Albright. So I've been all over the country, been all over the Mid-Atlantic of recent, and, had, amazing experiences at each spot. I've grown a lot, and excited to be here now and win a lot of games here as a Lion. Sounds
good. Okay, Coach Weaver, the floor is yours. If I've left anything out, you're more than happy to, add.
Main thing for me is just how much of a connection I have with the state of New Jersey, especially when you get a chance to recruit it for as long as I have. And I've recruited from Bergen all the way down to Cape May. I mean, the top to bottom. I just enjoy recruiting the state of New Jersey. And there's such good football players and students there, and it's a natural fit for students here at Albright. And that's an area we're going to make a huge push to have more of our even more of a connection to the state of New Jersey with the players and the people there. So you'll look at our roster hopefully in the next year or two and see even more names on there from all over the state of New Jersey. That's what we're really excited about. Recruiting all over the Mid-Atlantic, but we want our bread and butter to be in the state of New Jersey.
Great. Coach Weaver, I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to interview you. And of course, I said, spread the word about Albright College football, and, wishing you, the rest of the coaching staff and the players, all the success, during the 2021 regular season.
Thanks so much. We really appreciate it.